tell me a little bit about yourself. Oh my God.
Like, not reality to me. I swear I'm not even high.
I swear I'm not even high.
That's why you shouldn't have me doing this with you.
All right,
Okay.
wait, we're going to do this again.
Welcome to the podcast where we talk about cannabis.
Community violation. Code Green Plant.
Hello and welcome to Code Green Plant. I am your host, Christy Chanel. I'm here with Phoebe, and Phoebe is the CFO of Simply Vibin', and, well, she's also my friend.
Hey, Christy, thank you so much for having me, and I'm going to try to keep it together. I'm not a professional like you, so I have the giggles a little bit.
Like me?
I'm keeping it together, though.
Okay,
Yeah.
yes, we can do this, man.
So I am a mother, probably first. I'm a mother, I'm a wife, I'm a friend, I'm a daughter, I'm all those things. I consider myself a business professional at this point in my life, and I'm just really excited to be doing this here with you, so that might be why I have the giggles and I'm so excited and jittery, because, like, this is kind of a big deal what we're doing.
Yeah, no, it is. It's really cool, and I do want to give a shout out to my son, Austin, who is making sure that our audio and sound is perfect. Obviously, we know each other.
Yes.
And we are in business together. Simply Vibin', she's also a partner.
So we met, well, through work. We work in the same department. I'm actually your boss.
She
so
is.
We've known each other a couple years now. We've been working together a couple years, see each other almost every day. Sometimes we see each other more than our family. So I would say we're a pretty good friend.
I was working with another company, and I had been there about 9.5 years, and I was ready. I felt like had outgrown it a little bit, and I was ready to move on and see what else was out there in the accounting world. I received an email from a recruiter who said, hey, your profile looks good. We'd like to set up an interview for you. Turns out it was a virtual interview because we were just getting out of COVID.
Yeah, so behind the scenes, we'd been looking for somebody. We had just barely started interviewing. You were the first one we actually had the first set up real, okay, this person's a good quality candidate. Before I even saw your face, before I even saw your resume, the recruiter called me and was like, hey, just so you know, when you look on her LinkedIn page, it's going to have some stuff about marijuana. I don't know if she's a drug dealer or she does drugs or something, but there's something going on there. So as long as you don't mind that, do you still want to, it was kind of like, do you still want to talk to her? Like, warning, she has some tie to the marijuana industry. Yeah, so my first thought was just like, well, that's really brave of her. Like, I didn't at all think of it as a negative. Like, of course I still want to meet her. And in my head, I just kind of thought, that's pretty brave of her to have that on her LinkedIn profile, given where we're at, in society today with the laws and everything surrounding marijuana. Mm-hmm. So, in the cannabis industry overall.
Yeah, so I didn't know that, of course, when I went into the interview, by the way. So I'm excited. I'm like, cool, I haven't had an interview in 9.5 years. I'm not even sure. I was a little bit nervous. So I sit down, put my camera on, and I see Phoebe. And, I think you stayed home that day. It was a work from home day. I'm talking about normal accounting stuff that I would normally talk about. And out of nowhere, the CFO says, so tell me about cannabis. Caught me off guard, Phoebe. I was like, why? He's so not going to hire me now. Like, why am I here?
Yeah.
I was super nervous about it. Did he ever mention it to you?
Yeah, he mentioned it to me as well. Like, on top of the recruiter mentioned it, my boss, both of our bosses at the time, he did mention it to me and told me ahead of time, and he was kind of smiling about it, and I didn't know what he was going to think, because he seemed kind of progressive, and he lived in Colorado. He was from our Colorado branch where it's legal, so I was kind of not sure. And when he told me, I almost didn't know how to react. Like, I'm like, you don't want to give off like, oh, that's fine. And then he thinks I'm a pothead,
Yeah.
This is my boss.
Yeah,
I work in accounting, so it's a professional, very professional setting. So I remember I hesitated when he told me on like, oh, okay. And I just kind of played off like, that's fine with me. I don't mind. I don't do that, but I don't mind if someone else, if they have that and that's what they do in their spare time, as long as it's not at work. That's kind of the approach I took. And he actually was like, yeah, I don't care. I don't give a shit about that. He just said, like, the owners may care, but you and I don't. We're on the same page, so let's go ahead and still talk to her. But we kind of talked about it right before you got on the interview, so it made sense that he was just kind of dropping on you. Yeah. Yeah. I was shocked when he said it to you, too. Like, that was really bold and kind of like eating my popcorn. Let's see how she answers this.
I know, and I didn't have any prep time for that. So I think I just said, yeah, I'm an advocate. I believe in the plant. I'm not a wake and bake type person. I don't know if I use that wording, but I do believe in the plant. I believe it helps the human body. And I went into that kind of thing. And then he made me feel more relaxed by saying, yeah, I know a lot of people that use it for running, and kind of backed it up. Then he goes, can you pass a drug test? And I was like, oh, crap. Yes, I can.
He did.
Which, doesn't surprise me being in Texas that they would, require that. I think every job prior to this one required a drug test. What about you? Do you come across that a lot in your past?
Oh yeah, I have some experiences with drug testing, but luckily when I started at the company, they didn't drug test back when I started, and so that changed over the years, and they did implement drug testing. And so I did have, when he asked you, I was kind of even thinking like, I hope she can pass it. She says she can, so hopefully she'll be able to. But yeah, I did have concerns about that. And even I remember when we implemented the testing, it was already legal in Colorado at that point, and we had a branch in Colorado. We had branches in California. So I quickly asked, so what happens if someone tests positive in the interview and they live in Colorado where it's legal? What are we doing? And, I was immediately told, well, we're still not going to offer them the job.
Wow.
So,
okay.
Yeah, yeah, which I thought was messed up, being that it's legal where they live. So if they're not doing it at work and it's legal, why are we going to, discriminate against that basically? Or I guess we lose out on a good employee because of something like that. So
I agree. And, with the changing times right now, I think states are just trying to get a hold of it. They're trying to figure out what they do with it because they've never been faced with it, especially if it's legalized in that state.
Yeah.
Texas has medical cannabis in low doses for certain conditions, but it isn't protected by employment laws. Doesn't matter if you use it for a medical reason and you're approved, you could still not get a job. And hopefully that will be changed. I mean, the laws are so stringent to actually get to be able to use medical cannabis that you'd think that they would have something out there to protect them because they are now allowed by the state to use it.
Yeah.
But I went and looking because I knew we were going to talk about work in cannabis today.
Okay.
So I went to look at the origin of drug testing. And I found in the Washington Post an article, and it speaks about the origin of drug testing, and it dates back to the Vietnam War. President Nixon asked the military to start a urine testing program for returning service members. In 1988, Congress passed the Drug-Free Workplace Act and Anti-Drug Abuse Act. That spurred an increase of testing among private sector employers. So that's actually where it started.
In the 80s, huh?
Yeah.
Under Reagan, makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense. Say no to drugs, right, Nancy?
Yeah.
Miss Nancy?
And so companies just said, I'm going to use that. I'm going to take that too. And
yeah.
use it as a way to weed out and discriminate legally. Okay.
And I understand that, alcohol, you don't want somebody showing up for work drunk. You don't want somebody that's drinking on the job. Mm-hmm. You also don't want the same thing with cannabis, but if it's used to help you, then in a small dose, I think it should be okay. Depends on what you're doing, of course.
Yeah.
What kind of work you're doing, if it's a safety hazard, anything like that. But it should be deemed okay in certain situations.
Yeah, I think it should be. I should think it should be deemed okay regardless because of the long, the test, just how the testing works with cannabis and marijuana, how long it stays in your system. Mm-hmm. It's kind of wonky how all that works anyways. Like you mentioned, you don't want someone drinking, you don't want someone doing cocaine on the job, you don't want someone strung out on fentanyl or meth.
Yep.
But, you could have a drug test. I know I have a drug test next Thursday, so guess what? I'm going to go ahead and go on a binge this weekend. And then I'm just not going to do any of my meth or coke or fentanyl through the week. And I'm going to pass that drug test Thursday.
That's a good point.
Whereas with marijuana, I have to stop smoking 3 months out before I might even pass the drug test, if you were a habitual smoker. So that, I think, in general, I just think there's such a bias when it comes to drug testing. It's really just a hindrance to the companies because it's weeding out good quality employees before you even get them and can give them a chance to find that out.
Yeah. No, you're right. I never really actually thought about it that way.
Yeah, and you got to think about who are the users of these drugs, 9 times out of 10. Or I shouldn't even say 9 because where we're at today, it's not as stigmatized. And so you are finding out more and more people kind of smoke marijuana or give it a chance. But, especially in the late 80s and the 90s, who would you think, who were they associating with marijuana back then? You know, minorities mainly. Who would you associate with cocaine?
White collar.
Yeah, when you think about it. So, like you said, white collar, that's a good way to put it. And so it's okay. The drugs the white collar people do, those are okay. It's what the blue collar workers do. Those are the ones that are not okay. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of what happened with drug testing, I feel like. Like I said, a way to legally discriminate and weed out who you want and don't want, you know, but have legal backing.
You know, I wanted to bring up the fact that all but 3 states, Kansas, Nebraska, and Idaho, have legalized some form of cannabis. So it's going to be affecting a lot of states, and they're going to have to reevaluate and put it in the handbook so that they can define what the laws are, medical and recreational. California, New York, and Minnesota have passed laws protecting workers' use of marijuana when not at work. So they're ahead of the game. 3 states out of the whole United States.
That's pretty cool.
It is cool.
I mean, it's cool for those 3. It's really uncool for all the rest.
They're leading the charge, though, right?
Yeah.
They're leading the charge.
Yeah.
So this brings up, you know, a topic for me. My childhood was in a household that smoked cannabis. They thought it was fine. My mom had bipolar, and she was using it as a medicine without knowing it because she was undiagnosed at that point. We didn't find out till later. Tell me a little bit about you. How did you grow up? Was it part of your household?
No, I honestly don't remember it being a thing for us. I'm sure I was around it. I do remember one of my best friends growing up. They were a neighbor. Her parents, I remember them doing it. I remember they always had incense burning, and I could tell when they just got done doing it, but I didn't know it was illegal. I guess it wasn't a thing, and I didn't think of it in a negative way at all. My mom and dad were both alcoholic and drug addicts, and so those were the things I was aware of growing up, was, you know, the alcohol, which was probably had the biggest impact on us growing up, and the other, you know, the harder drugs that they were doing. Marijuana was just not, it was not even in my wheelhouse as a concern or a thing. You know, it was kind of like, I have, you know, my dad was doing heroin and things like that. So those were the drugs I knew were bad and I knew could, you know, ruin lives. Like I said, alcohol being probably one of the biggest ones, and we all know that's legal. They don't even test for that. I mean, you know, they might, depending on the place. I guess I have had an alcohol test before on a job screening, but, you know, like I said, that's out of your system in hours, so you're definitely an alcoholic if you're testing positive at a job screen. But I never saw it in a negative light. You know, I saw alcohol in a negative light. I saw a lot of those harder ones in a negative light, but marijuana was just not a concern, or, you know, not a threat to me, I guess, or I never had ill feelings about it. I was kind of around it a lot. It was pretty common with, I guess, when I got a little older, because I hung around, I guess, the people I hung around, but, you know, a lot of people I knew smoked marijuana, and it didn't make them act crazy and do the things, you know, like my parents were doing all these harder drugs. And so, like I said, I just never had a negative experience with it that made me like, oh, that's bad, or, you know, I judge people because they do it. It was just kind of like, no, you smoke, okay, that's fine, you know, okay, not a big deal to me.
So what kind of relationship did that create for you with drugs? Like, did it make you go, this is what I do not want to become, this is what I don't want to do, you know?
For sure. Yeah, I'm definitely the type, I am adventurous, and I was definitely wild when I was younger. I was really wild when I was younger, and those hard drugs, as curious as I was, I never would try them. I came from a small town, and there's not a lot to do there. You know, there's not a lot of opportunity, and it's a lot of drug use. And so I was around the harder ones, and I would, as wild as I was, and as much as my friends were doing it, I wouldn't go further than marijuana. And it's because I knew what it would do to me. I knew what, you know, trying cocaine one time would do to me. I knew what trying, you know, crack or heroin or meth, or I've literally been offered all these things. I mean,
I think I would have been crazier as a child had, you know, because everybody's out and you're testing alcohol for the first time when you're a teenager. And I had alcohol, and hard alcohol would actually burn my stomach. So I wasn't able to get into that drunk phase with my friends very much. And when I did, it was just like I had to wait 20 minutes for it to stop burning, and then I would be drunk.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
so I think that protected me, honestly, from, you know, the things of getting a little bit crazy. I was always kind of the designated driver.
I would have definitely never been the designated driver. I wasn't doing the hard drugs, but I was definitely partaking in alcohol.
Yeah, Yeah, no.
I started that pretty young, and it's so common. Even though I knew the destruction it did, it's just so common, and I found it as an escape and an outlet too. So I definitely went down that road with alcohol for a while. But again,
But I was jealous. Don't get me wrong. I was jealous. I wanted to be the crazy one on the table at times, you know?
Yeah.
I wanted that. I just wanted that experience. You know, like I said, I have gotten drunk.
Yeah.
But my friends know when I'm like, it's time to, let's go drink tonight. They're like, whatever.
oh, they know you'll have
Oh,
maybe
they know
one,
I'm not
maybe
gonna.
two.
Yeah, they know.
Okay.
They're well aware.
I'm like
so
that
they're
now.
like, she's driving. She's driving.
I didn't used to be like that. And Christy, you may not have known this, but I had to go a period of time where I had to quit drinking alcohol because I was definitely going down the road my mom was. I know they say that the truth comes out when you're drinking alcohol, but that's not always the truth, you know, especially when you're forgetting what you did. And so even alcohol, I don't have, you know, the best, healthiest relationship with it. And I'm not just saying this, but yeah, the Code Green plant is probably the one mind-altering substance that I've never had an issue with my relationship with it. So, yeah,
I
it's kind of
think
interesting.
for me personally, I definitely had my favorite thing that I've done, and I'm not promoting this, but is when I got head and neck surgery. Okay, I had triple level fusion in my neck and through my spine, and when you go through that, they put you on pain pills and hydrocodones. They were 10s.
Those are scary.
They were.
scary.
I loved them.
Yeah,
Okay?
that's why it's
I really,
scary.
really loved them. I didn't get sick. I didn't have a problem. I would cut them in half because I needed to get rid of the pain. But at the same time, I can look back and there are periods when I don't even remember
Yeah.
because of them.
Yeah.
But I liked them and I identified that I liked them. So as soon as I wasn't in pain any longer, I was able to get rid of them, you know, because
Okay.
I know I liked them too much. If I had known all the things that cannabis can do for your body to take away pain and all this other stuff that I'm learning, maybe I could have gone that route and I wouldn't have to use pharmaceutical pills.
Yeah.
You know, because they're highly addictive. So, you know, that was a concern, but I'll be the first to admit, yeah, I do enjoy them, so I can't have them. Now it's on record, so whenever I'm in pain, the doctor's going to go, oh, hell no. We both grew up in different ways, but yeah, so our relationship with drugs was, you know, you pretty much learned and stayed away. And I just couldn't do it because my body didn't allow it. Plus, I'm a control freak. Did I tell you that? Yeah.
No, you hadn't told me, but
You figured? Yeah. I mean, a little bit. I like to be in complete control of my mind. So the more I would drink or the more pain pills, it would take me out of that control.
Yeah.
And so that's why I really like a good CBD or gummy, a tincture with a little THC in it, because it brings me to that relaxed state that a glass of wine would do, but I still have full control over what's happening.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense.
yeah, that's my kind of thing. So also we have a company together, Simply Vibin', which I'm super stoked about. And you heard earlier that she is my direct supervisor. That means she's kind of kick ass at accounting. I think I'm pretty good at accounting too. I'm good at bringing in the money because that's my role.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be in the numbers anymore. I don't want to be in the numbers. So I was like, hey, you're like a badass at numbers. So do you want to be a badass at Simply Vibin'? And she's like, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I didn't know exactly her relationship with cannabis or how she felt about the whole thing at that point. So we had to have a few conversations to see where you stood and where I stood. But it was kind of an easy fit. It really wasn't difficult for us to partner up and kind of want to roll this stuff out.
Yeah, I was excited that you asked me. I mean, I'd been kind of thinking about like, oh, that'd be really cool to get in on that, especially, you know, early on and women owned and we're friends, and it's something I support too and I'm interested in too. So I was just excited when you asked me, honestly. Like I thought you'd never ask.
We should be getting a shipment of our beard oil in. We haven't really talked about it because we've been, you know, I'm excited about the launch in January, but we do have products right now. We have the beard oil.
Which my husband's been using, and I don't know if I've gave you an update on how it's been going for him.
No.
But he started using it a while back, and we knew it was just basically, you know, it makes it soft, it smells good, we love the smell of it, and test it for me. And so he started testing it, just thinking the same. It just smells good, and it, you know, makes it soft. And Tucson had patches. He's not always had a beard, and, you know, it's like all the rage, all the guys have beards now. And so he's been trying to grow one, and he has patches. He's got little patches where hair will not grow. But like right now, his beard's getting big enough to where the hair will cover the patches so you can't see him as much. But he told me a while back, he was like, hey, love, are you guys getting more of that beard oil, or is that something you guys are going to carry, or what are you doing with it? I'm like, yeah, I just wanted you to test it to see how it works for you. If you like it, I want to make sure I know how it works before I sell it. I'm honest. I'm an honest person, and I can't, go around advocating and promoting something that I don't know how it really works and see. So, but he ended up saying that his patches are feeling it now.
Wow.
Which he's super excited about. I'm even excited for him because I know it mess with his confidence kind of to have those little patches, and he'd be in the mirror looking at him, and he's usually a really confident guy, but to know that bothered him, and we were both kind of shocked, and it was a very unexpected result. I didn't know that would happen.
And we're not saying that it does that for everybody, but for Tucson, it worked.
It worked for him.
It worked for him. Then I also gave out, because what we do is we try the products, we test the products, and then we give them out so that other people can test them and try them. We want to make sure that it meets a gamut of concerns for people. So we gave it to our friend Lisa, and she gave it to her son to try. He took it, and then I was like, so are you going to give it back? It was a tester, dude.
Try it a little while and give it back.
He said he didn't want to give it back. His beard was too soft. And I was like, well, that is the best compliment ever.
Right.
Venmo me $20, please. No, I'm just kidding.
Right.
Just kidding. It's only 15.
I know when my husband came to me, when I was asking him, I'm like, you're not just saying that. You're not just saying that because I'm trying to sell it. He's like, no, really. And I'm like, well, if you tried other, I'm thinking maybe he's never even tried other beard oils. He's like, no, I've been trying the other ones. Like, your nephew got me one that he'd been using it. So he's like, no, I've been trying other beard oils. This isn't the first one, but it was his favorite. Just happened to be one that we're carrying. And it was legitimately is his favorite. So
and that's because of the hemp seed in it. And hemp seed is really good for skin and hair. And you can use it for food. I mean, it's just good for you all the way around. So we also have the facial serum, which has the hemp seed and all natural minerals and vitamins in it. That is what I use. Now, I'm going to be 50 September 23rd, and I don't have any makeup routine. Well, not makeup, skincare. I go to sleep with my makeup on, and my friends make fun of me. I just don't have a routine. So the only thing that I do is when I wash my face in the morning, I put on the serum. That's it. I do it once a day, and sometimes every other day I'll use it. But I can also put it in my hair when I'm doing it, because it's like that oil, that you can buy like Thermosilk and stuff, and it's kind of like puts the shine and it lays down like stray hairs.
Keeps the frizzies down.
Yeah, the frizzies down. Yeah. It's a really good serum. So we also have that we will be. I think we're out right now. Actually, we sold out, so I'm trying to get it back in. But we're also launching hemp-derived products, which. I mean, this is what I'm the most excited about.
Yeah, these are exciting.
In January 2024. We just have to get our banking in line because, well, cannabis and banking, they don't go together apparently.
Yeah, you didn't tell me that a CFO job in cannabis industry would be like impossible to get banking and to get financial support, but we're going to make it work. There's some great institutions out there that do work with, businesses in this industry, but I remember when you asked me, and it's like, I'm like, day one, do you have a bank account? You said no. I'm like, that's my first priority, to get this going. We need a bank account to get everything rolling, that's number one. And I couldn't just, go to Bank of America. I didn't know that was going to happen, Christy. You didn't warn me that was the thing.
I didn't warn you. I know.
I only knew about the industry as a layman, and now I'm, as a professional and really trying to be in business and do it legally, I'm learning that it's not, even though it's legal in so many states, it's still not
federally
simple
legal
to do these things.
No, I know. And the crazy thing is, we just told you about the hemp facial oil and the beard oil. Well, those aren't even edibles. Like, you're putting that on your face and your beard. And
you can't ingest them. You can't get high off them. You can't.
Nothing.
No.
And GoDaddy took away my payment link on the website that we have, www.simplyvibin.com. But they took away my payment plugin with them because I mentioned cannabis on the website, even though I'm not selling it. That's another thing. So we're trying to get up, we're trying to get running, we want to be compliant, we want to do everything by the law, by the letter. We're in Texas, but it costs us more money to be compliant than the normal business would because they don't have all the stipulations and rules. And we just found out we have to get a hemp retail license.
Yes.
Is that what it is?
Yes.
Yeah. So we got to get one of those. I think that just happened in March, right?
Yeah.
This year. We have a lot of obstacles to jump through. We are going to share those obstacles with you. So we're going to start, journaling that stuff so that we can bring it to you and let you know, because maybe you're trying to start a cannabis business and you don't understand all the things you're going to have to jump through.
Right.
It is a hard business.
So yeah, I would love to be able to use the information we're getting to help somebody else get started too. I definitely I don't want to keep it all to myself just because we figure it out. And
No.
let's all win. If we can get this legal and get it normalized, just finding a bank, someone that'll take our business. Who doesn't want our money?
Exactly.
Apparently a lot of banks.
Apparently. Well, also MasterCard, I read an article the other day where MasterCard does not want any cannabis businesses using MasterCard.
It's just such a waste of it's just crazy.
But
How-
I don't blame them, because what's happening is they're probably getting these penalties and these fees that are astronomical. So I understand that they're just trying to protect their business, but at the
Yeah.
same time, it's our government's fault.
Yeah.
It's the Safe Banking Act that they haven't passed. So it's not them that I blame, but it pisses me off still.
Right.
It's absolutely ridiculous. Some credit card companies will help us out, but some of them require a retainage of the percent of the sale, and they hold it for 6 months to a year. So there's a lot of stuff in the background that we're trying to work through, and we will. And
We will.
we definitely will. It's just going to take time, and we don't have big corporations backing us. So everything we do is us.
It's ours. Yeah, we're backing ourselves right now.
I think we have a lot of good stuff ahead of us. I want you to come back, and I want you to talk about things that we're going through. And actually, it would be really cool if you're able to come back and do the next episode, because I hear it's going to be a little bit spicy.
That's true. We're not
Yeah.
going to hold back, okay?
No, we're
okay,
definitely
not
not.
holding back good content until later.
Yeah,
All
exactly.
right.
Even
I'm
if I
excited.
blush. Even if I blush. I'm so thankful that you were here with me on our episode 1. And we, the first episode to go out to launch. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me, and thank you, Daddy Christy. I don't know what to call him.
You
I'm
can call
excited.
him, yeah.
Can I just
You
call him Dad?
Rick. Call him Daddy
Dad?
Rick, whatever.
Okay. I'll call him Dad. I like Dad.
Dad. Yeah, no, thank you, Dad, for doing this. And he ran out, and see that pretty little microphone in front of Phoebe right now? Yeah, he went out today and said, well, no. You need to have the best sound quality. So
Yeah.
thank you, Dad. I appreciate it. All right, thank you for joining me. Please like and subscribe and come back for episode 2, and we'll see you soon. Thank you for vibing with us.
Thank you.
I don't know how to stop this.
This episode of Code Green Plant was sponsored by Simply Vibin LLC. Code Green Plant is a Simply Vibin production hosted by Christy Chanel, with music produced and mixed by Timothy McGee. This podcast is not intended to be used for medical advice and is solely the opinion of the host. Please consult your physician. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and don't forget to follow us on social media. Want more? Visit www.simplyvibin.com. We appreciate you simply vibing with us.